building for the next 40 years.
Mary,
Still got Andrews Hall.
It just came in mail today, of course.
Still got Andrews Hall going
How
on.
long is that
Kids actually still stay
$14
there.
million bond every 20 years?
I
I didn't see that yet.
No, you're right.
20?
It's ridiculous. So I'm hoping we can have at least
It
two
would
to
have to
three
be.
questions.
That amount is, that would be.
A little more on
huge
Monday.
payment. Annual, or
What
And
you
it's
said.
so value
No, we
engineering.
don't need
We do it
for
all the
1,200
time.
seats.
That's got a lot of capital.
that's,
The need is not there.
Well, we-
Funding
So
campaigns for
Windsor,
big projects,
Windsor,
always got
Westbrook
value
has one.
engineering, and they always
So what?
design it with some value engineering.
that's right.
That's an idle threat.
But we
That's the
also,
thing,
we got
the problem was they
the,
let us involved in the conversation a long down the road before we could make,
Yeah,
couldn't make any
that's
changes.
okay.
It was too late.
That's
Auburn
the
Mall.
roll of the dice.
That's right.
isolated, we got that.
Well, they wanted us to
That
vote on
venue
the
in
question.
which we don't.
That's the deadline for
Well, that's
getting
gonna
the
lose my-
ballot question
it's-
authorized.
what you
So we
said
would have
just
to-
as you were
Yeah.
it sounded like something.
I
I hope that
it's
people
not
were
saying
saying-
So we had a meeting last night.
And then make the superintendent scramble because she throws dollar signs in her eyes way too big.
Decide what we want to do.
Yeah.
All the counselors email what I thought.
So, and also the people, the other hand, there's also the people
Yeah.
that do email.
The geothermal heat makes sense. It pays itself off in 5
The
to 10 years.
geothermal is almost free now. See, everybody keeps talking about what that costs. The state's paying for almost all of it.
And the
They
payback is
Yeah.
about-
And if it pays itself off in
That's
5,
not
6,
part of
7
it.
years,
It's just our
Well,
job.
300,000 of that
Well,
5
I was just,
million, 50
I'm
million
not
is
going
geothermal.
out of the way every time there's something, someone should maybe give a call or something.
I don't believe that
But you're right, if
3
you
year
just.
business.
I mean,
That's-
we did one at
I don't
UML.
buy that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I see what you're
UML,
saying.
But they projected the payback would be 7 years and it was 3.
That was one instance though.
No, it's 3, I mean, the payback.
Well, they
is
say
not-
3 years.
Commercial system, not residential, but commercial systems. is
They
good.
say the EL payback is 3 years, but it's only 'cause it's a $300,000 bill now, not a $2 million. It went from $3 million to $300,000. How does that happen? Anyway, that's
Okay,
another discussion.
okay, 4 o'clock. Let's start a meeting. Can I have a motion to approve, the meeting of, March 20th? Minutes.
I move that we approve as amended, and I'll tell you the amendments. On the approved minutes of the regular meeting, that paragraph, third one down, first page, so it was amended, we should make a note. Amended and approved minutes are on the website, so that the person taking minutes doesn't have to list every amended change from the draft. If we can just, there's a missing vote. Under new business on a motion of Dan Bilodeau, seconded by Paulina, it was voted to table the election of officers. I don't believe that was unanimous, but even if it was, it should say the outcome of the vote, but I think Andy objected. Did you? I thought there was.
Just kind of written down this.
Yeah, and I covered it with that, I think covered it there.
No, we
Uh,
had an extra.
And I don't exactly know how to do the wording, but I don't think the intention was what was said here. We talked about Preston Chapman just before old business, who served for 23 years, and what I was recommending we put in is a note of appreciation on behalf of the board as a whole. That isn't there, and I don't think we need to go out of our way to thank him. I think that we should thank him.
So, Tiz, are you saying that the board should send a note of appreciation?
Yeah, it should, and again, I'm not good at the wordsmith, but my intention was that the board recognized in its permanent records with appreciation, the long service and excellent work.
Not necessarily a card, but that it'd be a motion.
Yeah, it'd be actually in our records.
So we need a motion
We
to.
could go back and do that, yes, I thought that just, you know how we do some things by consensus? And then the next to the last paragraph, Egg Zone and Ad hoc Committee, the planning board is in review, in the process of reviewing the ordinance, it's not a report, it's a proposed ordinance. And there's a missing sentence, the Conservation Commission is also reviewing them. And with those changes, I move we accept the minutes. Additionally.
Okay. Second to that?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Do we, should it be in the minutes that we're discussing future, the whole thing, the whole quagmire of the 60-40 split with Lewiston, based on water flow? It's nothing's in the
We
minutes.
did discuss it at the meeting.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the minutes.
That was one of my questions too, sorry to interrupt, but that was a vote. I was gonna ask just generally, do we record votes that happen, all votes that
Yes,
happen, or?
we do.
So that's a miss in this.
Right.
So is that something Mike will put in, or how's that work?
Is the video of the last meeting available now?
We have the video.
I haven't checked the website, is it on the website?
I don't know, it's on Great Falls.
I brought it to Great Falls.
Okay.
A little slow sometimes to get them
So
out.
maybe somebody could take a look at that section of the minutes
Yep,
and
we'll get it added.
record it, whether it's a
If there was a
motion.
vote, it'll be added, yeah.
And if it was in fact a discussion that didn't really get all the way up to vote level, let's just make sure it's properly in the minutes so we can clarify that. That's a good point.
And those splits and all are really controlled by interlocal agreements signed when we built things.
So we have to.
It's not necessarily you can just say, hey, Lewiston, we want to change this. You have to look at when the sewer treatment plant was built or the UV plant was built and how things are specified.
Yeah, well, actually, I was gonna talk about that when we get to it, because the
Okay.
council resolved
Right.
and what we need to do, I think. But
And we did say at the last meeting, it was explained how it was divided, and then there were questions. We divided something that was 50-50 that most of us felt should have been
Right, so
was
going
the-
forward, we
So
want all,
a good review would
Right.
be important.
but it should be in the minutes, obviously, that we found.
Okay. All in, with those changes, all in favor? Financial reports.
I have three things to cover with you. First of all, through March, the financial statements, bottom line of 247,000 versus a budget of 174. And last year we were at 230, so we're tracking about where we were last year. A couple of highlights on the revenues, up 20,000. 13 of that is the water sales, the top line. That's the needed revenue. Consumption's down 2%, and this variance is approximately 2%. The other odd one is the jobbing, which we show net, and we see there's a negative 3,200. That shouldn't be negative; it should be positive. So, we're investigating that a little more, but we know that there is some timing of some bills that need to get sent out. So that should turn. On the expense side of things, we're off. We're favorable 25,000. A couple of the bigger ones is employee benefits, 15,000. That's mostly the health insurance. We're now fully staffed, but for the first 3 months we weren't, and so we reap the benefit, if you will, of that. And also on the lab, the lab line, where the testing, and I don't know what this is, but the UCMR4 testing is starting in April. It hadn't started yet, and it's like $2,000 a quarter, and so that is starting. But other than that, no surprises on the capital side. Really nothing to talk about. We haven't really got started on it. Capital work yet.
And expenses? Question?
Go ahead.
Statement or whatever. Gull management, second up from the bottom.
Yep.
Their boat has been under shrink wrap all winter over the Lewiston Public Works Yard, and with snow all around it. Other than, I don't understand why we've sent them $70,145 in January, February, and March, when all we've gotten from them is their statement.
We haven't, that is, I accrue a monthly amount because they don't send their bills every month. And it's kind of sporadic when they send their bills. And so that 17,000 isn't cash out the door yet. It's just me booking the expense.
It's a what?
It's just me booking an expense each month. And I have an accrual that when we pay it, we'll offset the accrual. It's an accounting thing.
Okay.
But instead of leaving that zero
Right.
and having
I like this way.
Yeah, so.
I
No
think-
surprises.
Right.
Thank you, Greg.
I have a question on expenses. Under insurances, we're 2,300, and you had mentioned employee benefits, which would be the savings and health insurance. What kind of insurance are we missing?
So that's general liability, vehicle, and workers' comp is in that line.
Oh,
And in the workers' comp, they bill it.
Right. Yeah,
There's
okay.
a big nut
Yeah.
at the beginning and then
Yeah.
it slowly goes
Yeah.
down, and that's just timing with that.
That's what I'm getting. And the last thing that I have a little concern, and I know you take care of my concern. Go to the bottom of the line, and this is a question Andy may have had. How much do we plan to be, for lack of a better word, in a negative from surplus of operations at the end of the year? Because if you look at our last three lines, at expenses, the net is the 24,000. If we had to make bond payments, which we haven't done yet, to me, that's, we've spent more money than we've taken in.
With the surplus from operations budget is 781,000.
Right.
Positive.
But the 781 positive would cover, we'd make sure that there's sufficient funding to cover the bond payments.
Yeah, that's 726.
Right.
Yep.
But if you come over to the end, this is where my worry is. My worry is, so we know at the end of the year we should 780, and we got to pay 726, so we'd have about 60,000 available. If we go to the end here and we make our bond payment now, pretend, we end up with not having sufficient surplus.
That 780 is after the bond payments.
Oh, okay, there. All right, never mind that. Thank you.
We're sure a negative amount of that variance.
It is right now just because of the timing of it.
Right.
Again, I didn't spread the bond payments on the budget. I just did 112.
That was a question that came up earlier. Was this the format that you had wanted at the start of the year? Because didn't we talk about back in the
We talked about spreading some of the budget line. We didn't.
Try to
do
do
every
one
month.
month,
We
one
did
month.
Yeah.
the top line water sales and payroll were the only two lines.
I wasn't thinking that. I thought it was
allocated by
a
district.
month. So both of these are compared to budget,
Yes.
not compared to prior year.
Well, that's in the other
That was
report.
the one I thought.
That's in the other report.
Right.
The prior year is in the other, is in
Right.
the Excel sheet. This one,
Right.
that shows you.
And this was sufficient. That's what's all.
Yeah, I want to know against the budget and also against prior year to see how we would.
But only water, not all expenses.
Correct,
Okay.
just on the sales part of things and also on the payroll.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted. I didn't want that to get lost.
I had a question though, getting back to golf management, and it also relates to this here too. That's a maintenance expense that would not be a 50-50 split. That would be based on a proportionate, right? UV plant, you said
That one is 50-50.
And so any of the bills I see here for UV plant, charge to UV plant, whatever that we share with Lewiston is also 50%?
Yes, other than chemicals.
Chemicals?
Chemicals are based on usage.
But anything else with the UV plant is 50-50,
Pretty much.
even though it's
Based
maintenance.
upon the agreements that we have in place with them.
I'd like to see the formal agreement, I guess we're gonna
Yeah,
wait and see that.
I can get those.
Because there was, the bonding was one thing, but the maintenance was another, and then before we can recommend pushing for a different funding formula. Because it's gonna only save us money, let's face it, I mean, why would we not want to go to Lewiston and say, hey, you
Why
pay
would you
your
not
fair
want
share.
that?
We pay less with that, so why wouldn't we wanna do that?
And why would Lewiston want to agree to a change?
That's what I mean, we gotta find a way to make
Or
it political.
that's the other side of this.
We won't ask for the back.
No, but just, you want to change an agreement that's less favorable to them.
Why would
Why
they?
would they want to do that?
On the
Well, I'm
other
hitting them on
hand,
all
it's-
their interlocal agreements, so hopefully they're gonna see
but
this trend here.
Yeah, that's the,
Well, and some of it may be not change the agreement, but it's in definitions. Again, this came up, and I wish I could remember
but
last month's example.
looking at the agreements going forward and trying to rationalize what we're doing. Are we doing it correctly? Is there a way to change it? Let's look at it.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna go to the meeting, and I tried to get a meeting with, I didn't wanna have this discussion before we got to it, but I wanna have a meeting with Ed Barrett, with Peter Creighton, and anybody else who wants to, and I want him to look me in the face and say, Andy, I'm sorry, we're gonna screw Auburn and continue to screw Auburn. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm getting sick and tired, because if that's what Barrett is saying, we like the agreement, because guess what? We make out. I wanna hear it publicly and on the record that that's how they feel, because that's not right.
Yeah, right.
And
Twice-
I'm-
So Andy, you're gonna have a conversation with them basically. You're
I'm
gonna sit down
trying
and
to
have
get
a
that meeting. So
conversation.
far, they're balking at the meeting,
Oh,
but
really?
I'm gonna keep pushing for it. If we can't get out, I'm gonna make it public if I have to.
Well, we could support here though, because the question is,
Well, that's what I'm
again, I'd
asking,
like
is I'm
not
asking
to
LA
start.
911, I'm asking LATC
Mhm.
to please at least support the idea. So if they say, what do you guys think? You have no skin in the game. You're just gonna get the same amount of money, it's just a different split. LATC might even see more money out of it if it's a fair split. I mean, LA 911 may see more money if it's a fair split. And on and on. Either that or give it to the county, and then we pay based on our property values. But if we're gonna have these agreements, so, I hate to, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox.
No,
But that's what I wanna do, and I want Ed Barrett to tell me, yeah, Andy, we like the agreement now, because we like screwing Auburn.
Well, I don't think there's a need to make it a
No, it's getting
contentious
that way,
meeting
because
right off the bat.
everybody is pushing off, saying they don't wanna do it, no, I don't wanna touch that, it's the third rail, I'm sorry, I'm not afraid to touch the third rail.
Well, that's your perception of that is not the way that it really works. I mean, we've had a long history of having interlocal agreements and having a cooperative.
And back in the
Process,
day, when
but-
it was 50-50 or very close, but things have changed, and a lot has changed over the last, the one LA 911 was 50 years ago. And back then, yeah, it was 50-50 was a savings, because when we had our own LA system, our own communication system, when they did, we actually saved money by joining them.
Mhm.
But then as time has gone on, 50-50 just doesn't work, especially when we're spending $6 million for the communication center. And we're paying 50% of that as Auburn.
And I guess that
Yeah.
comes back, so I'd like to come back to last month's conversation, because what triggered this last month was a question of some item, and unfortunately I don't remember why the majority of us thought that was
Allen Tree.
The Allen Tree-
should have been, but Sid had negotiated it the other way, and I supported, don't change that, but then we discussed other things that we were going to agree to look at. This month, what I'm hearing is this is what I heard, not necessarily what was said. I'm hearing that the only thing we split other than 50-50 are chemicals. Well, that's a very
It's different than what we heard last meeting.
Right, so let's presume that the document is good and complete. Let's look at the document, let's look at the definitions, because that may be right where we are. We may have a usage thing there that we just haven't exercised because it was difficult to track or too close to bother or whatever, before we sort of go the next step. But
And which document are you referring to?
Well, let's see the interlocal agreement. Whatever agreement
Which I
is written
happen
that
to have
says what
right
the
here.
split for all expenses are.
Well,
But that's,
the
law
commission.
pattern.
That's
That's
law.
fine.
That's
Right.
We have separate agreements
Between
on
Lewiston
funding for
Water
all
and-
Well, I
sorts of
brought all the
projects.
agreements because I'm a firm believer that TIS is on track, that the right thing is before we go do any meetings, is everybody should have a.
Well, no,
copy.
that's something I'm gonna do for other
Yeah,
interlocal agreements.
yeah.
That's
But
not for you guys.
before
I'm
we
just saying,
do,
that's what I'm not saying
We
you're gonna
should
give me
read
that.
If you want copies of all of our agreements,
Yes.
I can get them for you.
I
Yes,
think
I thought
source
we asked that
documents
last
so
time.
that
Yeah.
we're.
You wanna have those before.
We have, they
Conversation.
exist, we have them.
Sid, how many are there? Millions of them?
Yeah, Jason's
Yes.
asking.
So
But which would be the one that would apply to something like Allen?
can you, if there are going to be dozens of them, is there a cross section that you can give us examples, or are they
Sure.
that different?
No, I
states?
could,
Or would you guys
if that's,
just-
if that's
Actually,
something
I
you
would
want, I
like,
can give you copies.
I'm a library person, so I think they can be distributed by email to us, we can pick and choose what you choose to read. More importantly, they get put on the segment in the website, so that when we move on, somebody else can do this, and Sid doesn't have to say it every year, okay, who needs a copy of this, that he just welcomes the new trustees and said, go to the website and here are all the documents.
Probably don't scan every.
No, we have them electronically.
Yeah.
You do.
The other important one that came out this meeting, since we're talking about those documents you mentioned around, I learned a very important thing at the Lake Auburn Watershed Protection Commission, and that is that our bylaws are the equivalent of ordinance. In me, the term bylaws have always meant how the
Right, no, it's
organization
actually,
conducts themselves, not external but
Which
internal
bylaws
behavior.
are you
The
referring to?
Auburn Water District, well, in the case of, yes, it was the Auburn Water District bylaws and the Lake Auburn Watershed Protection Commission bylaws.
a good
But
example of that is the age-friendly committee has a set of bylaws which are actually an ordinance.
part of
So
what-
here are the Auburn Water District bylaws.
I sense that some of this will be talked about as we
Right.
proceed.
It
I
is.
don't mean to.
No, but we
You're-
wanna stay
But we
on
need to
track.
get copies
But-
of that.
Because there's another document called,
So Mary, where did you find all of these?
well,
I'll-
over the
I'll-
years, Sid has
if,
provided all these. So I just,
I
there's gonna be a
assume, I
time.
assume that every trustee has seen these or had these, I've made these and.
Yep.
Well,
I'll
people-
go through my list,
Well,
because I
in
don't have to.
honoring of Jason's point, when we get to the conversation on strategic planning, this is step one in strategic planning, is making sure that every trustee has access to the source
But I think-
documents
yeah.
and has read them recently and knows what they are, because that, you can't go anywhere till everybody's standing on the
But I
same
just-
building block.
I haven't seen what's called in a local agreement or an agreement that states the expensive breakdown.
I
and all
haven't
that.
seen one of those, so.
I've not seen
That
anything
has
like
never been requested of me, but I can get those.
And you know
If
what,
that's-
that was
if
gonna
that's
be
what
the
you
one
want.
I was going to tell you, that the interlocal agreement with the Watershed Protection Commission you have sent to us in the past.
Yep.
The interlocal with the city of Auburn and, with the Water District in Lewiston, I haven't ever seen.
Okay, so we're making a list of,
Yeah.
of the basic documents we want, right? For the minute.
Back to the 50-50, 60-40 thing. This community twice has voted down a merger of the two cities. So we need to be AWD. We really do.
We always have.
We may not need a rate increase. Lewiston might need a double rate increase. You know, that's what we need to determine. That's where I'm
Fair is
at with
fair.
that. Exactly.
In my opinion.
Okay,
Okay, so
So
we're
I guess we
gonna
move
go
on
back
with
to
the, I'm sorry.
No.
It is gonna come up in
But
the.
it came up,
Please
and
put
he's
that
like,
in the minutes.
I think it's a good example.
That we're independent?
Well, no, that we need to be looking at this. You know,
Yeah.
we're not a merged
We
community.
don't wanna subsidize
We're,
it.
we're not going in that
That's the
direction.
finance report.
thank you.
Okay. All right,
So a couple more things.
Greg, let's, back to you, Greg.
Okay. So I handed out the audit letter. The audit is complete. We're gonna have the final audit up on the website. And, hard copies are in the mail from the, I don't have it with me. So should have next month and we can have.
Now, this is the first time they have done our audit, second year.
Yeah.
Normally, as trustees, we get a little questionnaire through email, and we did not get one.
Yeah, this year I'm.
New auditor, different,
So that's what I wondered, is,
so we're done.
yeah, well, again,
I thought that was kinda weird,
I
'cause never
will,
got that with city
thank you.
council.
Huh?
I thought it was kinda weird, because I haven't had anything like that with city council.
Oh, and that,
First time I've seen it was this board.
oh, and we had gotten it in the past as a city
Yeah.
council, yeah.
Fantastic.
So again, I just like the notation, because I think it's a good idea to reach out to just get that little check mark from all trustees that they've been asked. So I'll look forward to the.
That was that little fraud questionnaire thing.
Yeah, right.
That was in
yeah.
the past, it's been, yeah. And other concerns, and I have received it, just so you know, when I was a counselor, I did receive it. Not
I
particularly
haven't
happy
seen
with the outcome, but
Really?
I did receive it, and it was fine.
Bottom line is, we got a clean opinion. This is just telling the trustees that we didn't find anything, we gave them everything that they asked for, and we all go along.
That's because we have a good finance officer.
And there is did you send that to me by the way, or you're gonna send out the electronic copy of the actual?
I was gonna put it on the website, or
Yeah.
said you wanna send it out to the board.
Either way, it's
Well,
available.
you gotta get a hard
If you want a hard copy or electronically, you can do either way.
I could wait for the hard copy, I guess I'm not that much of an anxious.
So, last thing, an example, you saw this last night.
This is
We,
incredible.
we put together an example
proud of
of
you.
the employee
I
benefit
can't wait
statements.
to use this, I have,
So
yeah.
take one and
I can't
pass
wait.
one along. Here's examples of two employees front and back. And just wanted it to have you look at it and see what you liked, what you didn't like.
This is assuming that somebody takes all benefits that are available to them.
Yep, well, yeah, if they didn't take it, it wouldn't be on there.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying that if, there's some people who don't take medical plans, so they get a buyout option instead of.
Right.
And that
So,
shows up
this is
on-
assuming that they're using full
This-
benefits.
this
No,
specific
it
to
would
it,
include
it's
the
not-
500.
if it's-
I know it's a specific employee, but it's one that's using all benefits.
But no, because if they got it the other way, that $500 opt-out
Sure.
will show up under,
But it wouldn't be
Regular
medical
earning
plan.
Probably, I'd probably put it under medical.
that's where I.
Right, but it wouldn't be 21,000.
Right,
It would be
right.
less.
Yes, yes.
So I'm saying this is the maximum that we can expect.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it. It's,
I love this. My former treasurer is dead, but I'm sure he's gonna. He's been waiting for 25 years for that bottom.
So
That's
thank you very
incredible.
much,
Thank
this
you.
is excellent.
Thank you, we
And,
appreciate it.
and have they been distributed to?
No, we were waiting to hear from you guys.
So Tiz, you're a person who's asked for this.
Yep.
Does
Oh,
this
this is
meet
great.
your request?
It does. Quickly looking at it, on the places that you immediately check off, the only one I could quickly see not there is, I'm gonna call it professional development, licenses, dues, those kind of things.
Training
For
that we offer,
future.
yeah.
Trainer, yeah,
Some people will, some, we may not hear, but I know the city will train, police officers will train fire folks, a lot of people get free training.
well, and I'm thinking I would hope that we might cover some, I don't know this, the licenses, driving licenses that
So we
are,
do.
thank you.
If we pay for them,
Those would be benefit, because that's something to the individual.
And we pay, we pay for them to get credits for maintaining their license.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, if it's
seminars and
continuing,
things
yeah,
on to-
that would be for future year,
Yep.
for next year to put that on. But
this
this
is what I'm looking at. I mean,
base-
this is
yeah.
just incredible.
yes, please notice, the person makes 32. I love your words. This is awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well, it's what it is, and with budgets, and my experience with budgets, we've always looked at the salary line, but nobody's ever really questioned the other part, employee benefits lines. And they just think that's just part of the business, nothing we can do about it, so now is a good example, it's over double what we're paying in salaries, we're paying in benefits, and that should be looked at like we do salaries.
Well, he would have, because I don't care about seeing individual, all of them. Would I like it? Yes. Should it be out? No. But what we could do, knowing this is the sample, and great job, no employee ID on here, is to do a summary of this, laid out, since he made us the cute pictures, of having, take all of these lines. So total rate, total company. Look at that.
And some of these things we can't do anything about, like Social Security, Medicare, unemployment,
It doesn't,
stuff
it
like
still
that,
costs
you can't, but it's still a cost that has
Can
to
you
be
share
paid.
that,
that's the
send that to
Right,
us?
that's the mandatory
Right.
stuff, so we can't do much about it, but it's still there.
Can you share that one with us? Because this one, once it passed, this would be a good one for our budget things. Great job. Thank you so much.
Really eye-opening, and I appreciate it, I really do.
I think, Greg,
All right.
thank you. Ratify payment of bills. A motion to pay this month's bills.
I move that we pay, ratify the bills that have been paid.
Shoot, I have one more question.
And a second, thank you, Jason.
I think it's-
Any discussion?
Page 13?
We did. Okay, it just hasn't been.
Page 13. Well, second one down from the top, the ideal control source and coverage. Maintenance SRBs, Mike?
PRVs.
I'm sorry,
These
PRBs.
are the pressure reducing vaults, there's 3 of them. They separate the 2 pressure zones within the water system. So there's 6 valves total. So we had them come in about 4 years ago, and they came back this year and just inspected them all and calibrated them.
Super. Thank you. Page 16. Middle of the page. Environmental Resource Associates. The testing supplies for the UV water treatment plant. This would be supplies that only Auburn Water District personnel use for our portion of the water, since there's no breakdown with Lewiston. $726.36.
Yes, that's how it would have been included, yeah.
That's
That's-
just,
that's-
if
There
you-
were, there were some things that happened that were just odd.
Thank you, Greg.
and why would that, how would that be determined?
Some special testing that he's doing up
Each
there.
water system is a separate entity. It's a public water system, so Lewiston is a separate system than us. And you have
So we're testing past the-
annual testing that's required by the state, and it's on cycles. So every 3 years you test for this, and
Okay.
we're not on the same cycles. We're always testing the same things every year.
Cool.
So,
Beyond the line, whatever
Right.
is on our side. Okay.
Thank you. 22, 4 up, 3 and 4 up from the bottom. US Cellular, the UV treatment plant, 230, 31 twice. Why is 230 being billed to sewer for the UV treatment plant, and why so much money? Do we have that much phone monthly stipend going to sewer employees? 230, 32. I guess the basic question is number 1: why is Auburn Sewer attached to the UV treatment plant for phones? Is it because of US Cellular?
So just this last month, as we brought up a couple of meetings ago, we were looking at our cell phone plans and what we were going to do. So we stayed with US Cellular, and we got a better deal with them, and we just implemented that. So this is probably a lot of the equipment that there's setup fees and stuff like that, and it's just allocated to the different groups based on expense. If people carry phones at the UV plant, that's where it is. Some people at sewer, that's where the expense is. I don't think it's necessarily tied to the treatment plant, but we could look it up.
So will the $30 stipend be mixed in with this 230 or not?
No, $30 stipends are separate.
So we won't see this happening again
No,
Another
this
month.
was the setup.
This is- Okay, thank you, Mike.
Okay, Julie?
I had some others. I think I heard you ask this before, but clarify page one, halfway down, the course in GIS, monthly host fee, miscellaneous expense treatment, and that's being split with sewer. And if it was a treatment plan, I guess I didn't know if treatment meant treatment plan or treatment of something that we both do. Because I didn't know what it was for.
I think that's just a wording. Again, our work order system is hosted on a Amazon cloud.
Okay,
That's
so
where
it's
all of
our
workers are.
software.
It's a software.
Okay, software. That makes sense now. You don't really mean treatment.
Right.
Treatment, okay? And I had the same thing Andy brought up earlier, which were all the check marks for Lewiston to take a close look to see if that meets our expectations. And I'm sorry if, and I've asked it so much, I bet that I should know the answer, but don't. But Sid will off the top of his head, page 6, the copier rental, when is that agreement up?
That recently did come up, and we renewed it. We looked at purchasing or renting new, and it made most sense to rent that new. We did do some checking, and that's what was the most advantageous for us.
Okay, so we looked at other rental agreements as well, and not just, so it was just renewed?
Yep.
Oh, good, then we do that. That one. And it's a little amount, but it just surprised me, page 9, a finance charge. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 up from the bottom.
Oh, 37.
Was that just a timing, or were they, no?
It's probably just the time.
Okay. Second from the top, the Northern Data, same issue. When is this contract ending so we have sufficient time to do a review before we get there?
They're, excuse me, they're all annual.
Right.
renewals, so they're good till 2020, I think, is the latest one.
But I've raised it several times, and I guess I haven't heard us. It's a substantial expense that when we have we looked at it last and said, okay, this is
Yeah.
we want to continue with this company with these services. It's the best for the best.
I know the last time we looked at it, it's actually a pretty cheap version compared to some of the other districts that we talked to.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Again,
been a while since we looked
right.
at it.
Well, that's my concern, and I have had personal experience where I'm happy with the service for a long time, but had to get forced into, and when we did, we dropped ours by 75%. Because there was a newer product out there.
That's a big project.
Right. It is a big project, and that's, I'm not suggesting it overnight. I'm just suggesting that sometime, it hasn't happened in 7 years, so
Yeah.
before I leave, I'd like documentation that I've raised the question. We've got a number of truck things on page 8, and we had talked about getting an inventory report, which showed us either miles or hours on the engine and that repair cost, so we could see, I believe you said, isn't really such a listing or report? But to us, it's very hard to look at all these expenses and not know, when you cut over.
I think I remember putting that together. I can't remember the month I did it, but I thought I gave that to the trustees.
You had it, because you told us you had it, but I don't.
You hadn't seen it?
We hadn't seen
Okay.
it. So if we could just put that on our future.
These are all just fuel. This isn't.
Right, it triggered, no, I wasn't discussing that specific, but it was a good example to show how many trucks. When we get to our capital, at the end of the year, we're a little busy to look at. They do a great job proposing we replace this truck, but we do it in a busy time. And the last one to page 13, we have a deferred comp plan,
Where are you now?
or is it, we just call it something,
Yeah,
we do.
yeah, but I think it's just the employees put into it, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's a voluntary contribution plan.
That's great. I'd like to see the summary plan description. What is a re-emin fee on page?
It's a
14?
re-exam fee, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Key.
Okay. Nope, I get that kind. I just thought it was some technical word. Look at the hours only. And again, caution on page 19 where we have petty cash, miles, office supplies all lumped together. I know there is an itemization because I've seen them in the past, but no, if we post them that way in this public document, you're going to get the Tim Dowdy question, which we had, which is how much was in mileage and how much was in office supplies, and how much were in tolls and how much was a battery, because those are different expense items.
So if you have a request to have what?
Well, I just know the caution. We should be not
More
putting those in,
itemization.
or breaking them out. Is what it's a pain in the tooth to break out something for 79 cents or for $5. I get that part. The problem comes when this is the public document and you have somebody here who looks at petty cash and says, "Oh, and we have a detail." I know because I went through it. Cumbersome but detailed. So those are my questions for today.
So beware, people will be asking. Maybe.
Yes, beware. Yeah, we bring it on ourselves.
Quickly, about this being a public document, you mentioned removing some of the personal information.
The
names here.
names, yep.
Is that not possible just because of the way that we're
The vendor, you can't move it under the vendor line.
Right.
So do you not? Can you not?
Oh, I think
Publish
that
this?
no. I think that
Do we
giving it
publish
to
this?
these people,
This?
it's part
It
of our.
goes out on the
It's part of our
website.
right. It's part of our agenda. This I have no problems with. The place I've been talking about is if we get a desk for the office, it's not Tanya's desk. It's a desk for the office.
Okay.
That's where I want to remove
Sorry.
the name.
We're- I think we're done.
And we've improved
Address
that.
that.
Yeah, we have. We have improved that. No, the vendor needs to remain.
The other question,
Every question.
you know that? We just had a couple of questions. One of the, I think I mentioned this yesterday, is Michael Broadbent, snowmobile rental. He's
That's Mike right there.
yeah. So
He said that.
that we're putting names in there.
That's the vendor.
That's
Yeah,
because the
he's the
vendor,
vendor.
he needs to have his name there.
So he's,
He got reimbursed for.
but is it a company reimbursement, or because I know that with corporations you have to be careful with W-9s, and if you're paying out an expense that's actually an expense, it needs to be
Well, it goes over $600,
Goes
you
over
get
$600.
$10.99.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
okay.
But-
I just I know that
But we used his snowmobile out on the lake.
For half a day. Yeah.
And we had to
reimbursed
charge,
him.
right, which we should because we rented some later on in this deal.
the other question I had was Ace Detective and Security and the traffic detail.
Page?
It doesn't happen.
Where are
Page
we?
one.
First
Sorry,
page.
page one. Traffic.
Still on one.
And I know it doesn't happen very often. I know Auburn offers overtime for officers. Maybe it's too expensive. It is.
But they don't flag. They just sit there in the cruiser.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is for flagging.
It's for flagging.
I see. Okay, all right.
We hire PD if it's on a busy road.
But again, they don't flag.
But they won't. Yeah, they won't flag.
They don't flag.
And in my other hat, I'm not sure we should be renting our offices at the rates we are because we're not.
That's a big part of their overtime.
Right.
Yeah, is that detail stuff,
Right.
and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'd certainly not rather not the money go outside.
Any other questions? Are we ready to vote? All in favor? Open session. Closed. Activity report.
For open session.
There's a trustee open session.
Okay. So you're going to go public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Activity report. In March, fairly quiet month. We did have a few leaks, not real bad. Just a couple. We started doing some work up on 5th Street at the end of March, getting ready for the main replacement there. There wasn't a lot of activity under gates. Hydrants, again, a lot of the winter maintenance of the hydrants. We did have a few that get hit and we repaired, as listed. Mystic Way, we did have a couple of new services turned on. New building at Mystic Way, and then we activated the services to the Margaret Murphy home out on Summer Street, so those are now on.
Is Mystic Way a residential then or a business?
Commercial.
Mystique, that's the marijuana operation, right?
Right, off Minot Avenue.
The service work, again, just miscellaneous service repairs. Mainly those are drummed up through the disconnects as we go out to exercise valves to collect funds. We find broken valves and we have to get them fixed. But nothing out of the ordinary there. Again, everything was pretty routine. We did get a water quality call out on Permaline. We're going to be really doing an aggressive flushing this year during our hydrant flushing, which we're looking to start next week. That high turbidity we had last year for about a month, again, that's mass that you're putting out into the system. It then dies and settles, and it's built up in the pipes, and we need to get that flushed out. So now that the water's good and clean, we're going to be flushing starting next week. I'm going to have about 3 people doing that in-house every day, and then we're going to have night crews out, and we really need to do a good thorough, not that we don't every year, but we're really going to be scouring the pipes just to get them cleaned out this year.
How do you scour?
Just
I
by
agree.
running the water.
3.5 feet per second in a main, depending on the size of your pipe, it's a lot of water. Sometimes it's 1,000 gallons a minute if it's a 8-inch pipe. Sometimes it's 12-inch pipe. It might be 3,400 gallons a minute. But 3.5 feet per second will scour the pipe.
Because you've always talked about fletching, but that's the
Yeah.
first time I've heard it scour.
So, outside of that, nothing out of the ordinary. We did a lot of our training this winter. That's all behind us. We have a couple more things that are lingering for training, but the rest is pretty routine. We'll talk more about projects and project updates.
What would be a miscellaneous water district duty foreman overtime call with 3, I think they're hours, but
We get calls like there's water coming up out in the street, and we get out there and it's just runoff water coming out of a snowbank. I really started analyzing some of the calls. So we get a lot of calls where it's nothing, and
right.
but we do our due
I know
diligence.
customers like that.
We go out. Guys come in and they check it out. So there's a lot of them in a month. Particularly on the sewer side. Sewer is way more. My dishwasher's acting up. Oh, listen, my sewer's back up. When you get there, so your sewer's back on my house? No, it's just the dishwasher. It's not working.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have moved myself.
Have a good day, man.
Yeah, right. Thank you. It's not our problem. Anyways.
In the past, speaking of mains and stuff, you and I had talked about the Krispy Kreme problem, and for those who don't know, Krispy Kreme removed the tree, which now creates a footpath onto University and Blackmere, which the city assured when those zoning changes occurred, there would be no access.
We cut the tree.
Yeah, well, but
They
for the
planted in the
reason,
wrong place.
right,
Yeah.
that's the point. Here's where I want is, so we did our job. They, of course, the people say, oh yeah, the city didn't follow up in regards to why he said that. The trees are planted in the wrong place. So number one, I think we need to fix the problem. But number two, more importantly, I don't know the how. But planning board needs to be more careful on their oversights of the city. So I don't know how to do this because this is not an area of expertise. But we need to somehow document this as the example and prevent it in its future by more careful review. Because those trees aren't supposed to be where they are. They're supposed to be trees there, but not.
Well, shouldn't they just go back to Eric Cousins?
Well, that
as
again,
far as
I don't
the problem
know.
with the site
I
plan
wrote to
approval?
Eric first, and it took 3 months, and they went out and said, "Oh no, the customer said they were told to take it down." Well, long story short, but they weren't. They had to cut the tree to get to the main, but their trees are in the wrong place.
The trees were in the right of way of the road.
Right.
Not on the property line like they were supposed to be per the site plan. But the city should be the one overseeing the site plan and ensuring that this is what they put up for a plan, that's what they did, they executed it.
So either the district could do that, or if Mike would help me, I'm happy as a resident. We just need to stop that, because that was a costly call. Wintertime's worse, and on the other side, the residents of the neighborhood do not want a footpath, and we're promised no footpath. This, to me, is all city mess, but I can't do it without Mike's technical thing, and I question how many others we have like that.
He's just following up with Eric. I can reach out to him again and see
Would
where
you
that
copy
stands.
me
Yep.
on that, so that because
And ask the property owner to put the trees where
Yep.
they're supposed to be.
yes, yes.
And you can CC me on that too, so I can follow up.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for
That's
activity,
it.
Mike? All right. Next is election of officers.
Yes, this was tabled last month. We do have ballots here that we could pass out. I know that before the meeting last month, I emailed out there if people had interest in any position or wouldn't mind, if they were nominated, would they accept a nomination?
So I emailed again to everyone and said that I would also like, once again, to be considered, and Casey and I have talked for the role of president. So I guess in that case, I'd be a write-in.
Or add to this
Everybody's
here.
a
Yeah,
Right,
this
everybody's
just
right.
this ballot, the way it's written, just has the existing
I see,
position that's in.
I see, that's
And,
a,
and there's no conflict for clerk, auditors, superintendent.
And I'm off for treasurer. I don't want to serve again. I think I reported that out to you. But I think Dan expressed an interest.
So who else wants to serve as treasurer? Because I'm definitely interested in coming in more often and signing leads and helping out in that regard.
There's very few times they need a signature.
Yeah.
Once a
Maybe,
month.
maybe once a month.
So,
Well, no, the only reason why I was mentioning it, maybe, I know Bob, you like to nitpick and get
I
them
have
down and
been,
dirty.
I have been treasurer once before,
Okay.
I believe.
Nope, that's fine.
For one, so that's why I'm not jumping
I'm
right
more
in,
than
I'll let
willing
someone else do it.
to pull more of the shares, no problem.
okay, so then if nobody else is interested in treasurer, you don't need to vote there. And that leaves it with Mary and I as president, and I said over the years, does somebody want this job? And for the past 5 years, nobody's wanted it. And
bringing endorsement of the role.
well, and Mary would run this board differently than I have in the past. And there's things that I'm better or worse at, and I guess it's a matter of amongst the 7 of us, who would you like to have next year? So,
Do we wanna talk a little bit about our different philosophies?
well,
Okay.
people have seen me way too many years, other than Jason, I guess.
Well, I'll just say that, I really admire the work that Casey has done. I think he has tremendous depth of knowledge. The additional background experience that I have is I've done a lot of work in the public and not-for-profit sectors in strategic planning, strategic decisions, and board development. I have a strong sense of trying to bring a board together to make sure that we work effectively with the staff in each of our different roles. And I do think we are at a time when a number of questions are being asked by people in the community and the city council. So I think it's possible that some of the perspectives I might bring for the board as a whole coming together to address some of those questions in a proactive way might be useful at this time. I'm a strong advocate of board governance and transparency and accountability, and I think particularly in the last 10 years, technology has changed the public's expectations dramatically, and I think we have an opportunity to rise up to the newer levels of accountability and transparency that the times are asking.
Okay. Any other discussion?
How about LawPet? Was that not on the ballot? Because did Tiz want that?
I
How's
wanted it, but Sid, I was right. You're gonna get asked the question. That was a wrong thing. Sid has an answer for that.
If you go by the bylaws for the commission, those are set up such that there's only one. There are 3 reps to the commission. 2 of them are at large, and 1 is a trustee. And the bylaws are set up so that there's only one of them that comes up every year. And looking at the rotation that we have, before the meeting, I got this out. This was some of these are a bit outdated, but if you look at the time frame of when things occur, this was back in, if you want to see that was back in 2017 that was put together on who's on the commission and when their terms expire.
So my term was a 3-year term. That's the
Yes,
summary.
yes. So you
Which
were
I
assigned
always
last year,
adopt
so your
for 1
term
year.
comes
Yeah.
up in 2021.
Yeah.
This coming year, 19, John Bono comes up. His term expires.
In what month are that? 'Cause we
July.
July. So we should begin to post the reappointment and interested positions.
John is the chairman of the
Yeah, John's.
Right, the terms come up in July, so John will be July. Next year is Bethel Shields, she's 2020 when her term expires, and then his in 2021.
Right.
So
I haven't seen this in the bylaws. Is this a joint vote between the Lewiston Council and
no,
our
but
council, or this
the
board? and
Lewiston assigns their own commissioners.
And they're a little bit
The
different,
Turner-
because they are different, they're a majority stakeholder in that organization.
They have three as well as Auburn
Right.
does.
Right.
There were 3 from Auburn, 3 from Lewiston. There were 9 total, and there's representation from the outlying communities in the watershed.
It'd be good for every trustee to try to get to one of those meetings if you haven't been to one before, or whatever you can, and also to get to know the Auburn and the Lewiston side.
And normally they meet every other month, but we actually
This
have a
is
meeting
just
Monday
our-
the 22nd.
Jason, this is just our
What time is that
representative.
usually?
Our 3 representatives, of which John Bono is up for.
Oh, I see. Appointed by decision.
Yes, John has been appointed by us,
Okay.
and his term is up, and I believe he's interested in continuing.
Yes, he's already submitted. We have a nomination form that we have on our website.
I'm an attorney on the understood.
It is an opportunity though, if you know someone,
Right.
right? I
An
mean,
attorney is a good
Where do they usually hold those meetings?
asset.
At
You
AvCog.
said.
Normally it's at 3:30 every other
So
month.
that we want to do.
So,
Is it 10 o'clock, Sid?
What's that?
Meeting 10 o'clock on,
so
Special meeting coming up Monday.
So with that,
at
we,
10?
look, he's got a question.
Do you want to? Tanner and I will count the ballots if you want to.
When do we have
ballots?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
It's in the bylaws that be done by written ballot.
Holden has
It's 10 o'clock, I think?
10 o'clock. It's normally on the Thursday, Wednesday at 3:30. We didn't finish our agenda.
So anyway, who are the ones that want to, want president?
Mary and Casey.
So the next commissioner that we're gonna, as trustee, board of trustees, the next commissioner we're gonna send over, what's the month and day, year of that one? This is John's.
I just heard John.
in July.
In
So
July,
we
okay.
should be posting the opening for anybody interested with a little job description.
How do we do that? How do we post that?
We post it
It's on the
our
website
page,
now.
but we should extend, I don't know if the cities will do it, but we can at least notify them like we do our agendas and that. They may or may not choose to post it on their site.
Do you have a
I was
regular?
treasurer with sewer, not water.
I could be
But
confused.
still.
I thought I remember you saying you have a regular
Somebody different.
presentation either to the council or to with the city staff at the third Thursday of every month or something like that. It was in your communications section last week. It was I think it was new.
Yes, the third
Is that the
third
time?
Thursday of every month. There's going to be a basically meeting with myself.
This is internal or just a public?
No, this is internal.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
with the city manager, just to update on what's going on.
That's so helpful and important.
And the first one got postponed.
Oh, no.
I was just thinking about.
That was Peter wasn't feeling well, but we do plan on doing that regular scheduled meeting every
So
month.
postponed but not rescheduled for that month.
No,
But not
Okay.
the
forgotten.
next one's going to be coming up next week.
Okay.
But Sid, please keep track of that, because if you've reached out, made the plans, he was sick, and we
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
But it's a two-way communication.
Sure.
I was just thinking that thinking of opportunities to announce that to the public, but we don't unless somebody goes to a council meeting or a counselor could mention it.
In the report.
It's not really.
Well, I want that
Business,
part, is
but
once
it's-
we had the
it
meeting,
is.
if we have a
Announcement.
meeting, I wanna announce that it's had happened, and,
I was talking about the appointment.
We can do the same thing.
Correct.
That was.
the appointments, yeah,
So we
right.
could,
That'd be part of my communications. Monday is a special
workshop,
meeting, but
workshop.
that's a workshop.
Yeah. That's what the agenda packet says, the website says workshop.
All right,
Yeah,
maybe they're going into a
They moved it.
audited recount out there. Let's go on to water quality.
I would be responsible.
Water quality update.
Yep,
We already have a special meeting on the 24th with the school.
As you can see from my notes, we did do another round of on ice testing. We don't always get a chance to do that. Some years we don't do it at all, but this year we were able to do it twice. We did some another round of oxygen readings at the deep hole. As you can see from my notes, if you've read those, we did get the oxygen level at the bottom of the lake on that second round was a little less than it had been the previous month. I wouldn't draw a huge conclusion from that because we don't have.
Good or bad?
Well, no, it's the higher oxygen content, the better your water is. It did go down slightly from the January reading that we took.
So you're not nervous because I read that and it made me
Well,
nervous.
Well, again, I'm not terribly nervous about it because I do need a lot more data than just a few grab samples here and there. And this really was the first time in my recollection that we've had 2 samples within 1 year that we could compare the results. There's just not enough background data there to really draw a lot from it.
So whatever we decide to do, we're going to move from speculation to confirmation over time. Would that be true? Because you're going to, this makes you nervous a bit, right?
Well,
So we're going to
it's-
do something.
It's
We're gonna-
pretty monitored.
Right, monitor.
Yeah, so we'll we're going to continue. We can't obviously do any more. I mean, the ice is almost out, but it's one of those things that almost kind of is what it is.
Right. But next fall or next ice or whatever, right? We're just not going to leave this dangle.
Just a science moment.
Yeah.
Would you just give us a true snapshot of the relationship between dissolved oxygen readings and water quality?
Dissolved oxygen, that's indicating a healthy lake. If you get oxygen level that is low, a lake is in the process of going anoxic, which means there's less oxygen available, and that's usually due to any type of decaying matter that's in the water.
And
Bacteria.
we don't want it to be anoxic.
That's right.
It leads to
That's-
fish kill, right?
That's when you get. That's when
That's
you
when the
can.
trout died.
That's when you get. That's when you can get
I just wanted
phosphorus.
that little
Yes.
highlight so everybody
We have-
here is aware that this is one of those little things we're
We
finding.
have iron bound phosphorus in the sediment in the lake. When the lake goes anoxic, that phosphorus can get released up into the water column. So that's what you don't want to have happen. That, in a nutshell, is what
Right.
is when things aren't good. And that's what happened in 2012. The lake went anoxic, and fish need oxygen to live, obviously.
Yep.
And that's what caused that fish kill in 2012. Ice out, at the time I wrote this, there was speculation about a week ago that we thought ice out might be sometime on April 20th. What is it today, 17th? So, yeah, it looks like it could be just about that. It is
Didn't
starting-
Mary, we have a bid last year, she won $1 or something.
No, I lost last year and I've already lost this. This is just a household thing.
Last chance for a snowmobile tour tonight, midnight.
Really?
My house, no.
On the lake, no,
Yeah, there you go.
Jim's trying to clean
How
house
lucky
on
do
the
you feel?
board.
No insider information allowed.
No.
We are
Okay,
We are in the
moving on.
process of getting together our numbers for the consumer confidence report. Every year that goes out.
Yep.
So we're sending that out. That will be published by July 1st. We'll print some copies and have it available on the website. We are going to be doing. I thought we were done with this. Lo and behold, we are not. We've had correspondences with the Maine Drinking Water Program. We do have to do another round of lead and copper sampling this summer. It has to be done between June and September, sometime this year. I thought we were in the clear where we were on a reduced monitoring program, but we do have to do one more round before that can happen. As long as our thresholds are below the limit, then we will be on that reduced monitoring program.
And just because Jason wasn't here for that, that's sampling in a selection of households.
That's right. Yep. We the lead and copper. The real issue with lead and copper, we don't have lead in our distribution system. Any lead that is present in water is due to people's plumbing in their homes. Lead solder around the joints and things.
And a while back, we changed our chemical treatment from the orthophosphate to the whatever we're using. I mentioned that, Jason, when we were out the plant, that we weren't treating it as effectively as we could have been treating it. And a couple of years ago, we changed that to get our test results better, and I think
We increased our eligibility.
that's, we should not have a problem passing these tests.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Before you move from water,
Solder.
just
When was
one
that
more.
changed? When was
What's
that done?
Before we leave water
Couple
quality,
of years.
Years before that.
Mike will know, I have it marked in my calendar because it's in October.
Hold on, it's number 10.
The toxic stuff into it.
What was
It's
the, what was
important to
the,
understand this, so this is good. Did you have your question answered, Jason?
Part of it. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, no, no.
I was actually going to backtrack because I didn't understand something you had said,
Okay.
and it's probably just a remedial question. Dissolved oxygen readings at deep hole were lower than previous month. You said we don't want to be reactionary based on a few grab samples. I just
Yeah.
caught that, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand the context. And I explained for someone who doesn't
Yeah,
understand.
what do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What did you
We're gonna
mean
take
by
another
that?
sample and hope it's better.
well,
Do you
Uh,
take these samples regularly, or is this just a one-time?
that was the
Grab
thing.
sample.
We haven't, taking samples in the middle of the winter has always been a very tricky thing because Lake Auburn, the ice conditions on Lake Auburn are not always ideal. Sometimes the lake never even freezes over out in the deep hole. So
you
being
can't-
able to get out there on the ice, drill a hole, and take a sample of oxygen in the deep hole is something we don't get to do very often. Some years we don't do it at all. This year we're able to do it twice.
Normally you do it from a boat in the summer.
We do it all summer long.
It's
Because
a,
we
You could do it year round with like a hovercraft type rental, you know, where you go out, it's flotation, it's got a fan,
We
so
don't
you
have
can
that,
skim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be in the CIP.
That'll be over $600.
Don't lose
I'm saying if it had to be
Did you say
done,
you have one, Mike?
Yeah.
And the second part of my question was just that, is this a required for either monthly, quarterly, or regulatory filings, or is this just an internal?
This was just our curiosity.
and it's a good thing to monitor
That's just a monitoring point.
because we're
But
paying
no,
attention.
no significance that it was higher or lower from one month to the next because there's no trend that we can even measure.
So we don't even look back. Is it something that you put in the consumer confidence report, which was also
No,
mentioned?
no.
This is different
No.
completely.
But we do
Limited.
we've been monitoring all summer, all the rest of the year long. Those are the ones that we look at and you can draw a trend from.
Things that are in the consumer confidence report are the state regulated limits that we must attain for drinking water quality. And we test for those parameters in the water itself. And those are what's reported in that.
It's typically finished water. I mean,
Yes.
from the treatment
As it's
plant out.
leaving the plant.
That's your CCR.
So, because this is so crucial to part of our responsibility, perhaps the question that we're trying to understand is what is our responsibility to be paying attention to this data in case it's a warning sign that there is something that we want to be concerned about. And because there's no historic time data for winter sampling, because sometimes the ice isn't strong enough to support taking winter sampling until such time as we might decide to get a hovercraft.
It'll be in the CIP.
It is, yeah, maybe they have, you just opened that door. But the deep hole samplings are primarily done from a boat in the
In the
summer.
summer.
And there is considerable year-over-year sampling data.
Yep.
So that is
And
well
that's
monitored.
what we watch for trends
And that's what is monitored
and
for
tells
that.
us how healthy we think the lake is.
But we're not going to just ignore this, is what I
No.
heard earlier. So regardless of how little winter data we have, A, we keep it, right?
Yeah.
A, we keep it, and B, with this, if the opportunity presents itself when we get ice again next winter,
We'll
we
do it.
probably try to do more of it. Again, understanding that we might not get there at all. But, so it is important data.
I mean, that's right, and I think it's important to highlight this in this public moment, both in minutes and should anyone be ever watching this video, because it is part of our responsibility and due diligence as a board to be making sure that the data is being studied, that is significant, and where there's a possibility of a concern beginning to show up, we are totally tuned into it. So The staff is, we are now, without overreacting, which is what I consider thing, because we don't really know yet. We have 2 months. Did that solve?
Yeah, sorry to derail your water quality report. The data type questions I was going to mention personally in the kind of trustee open session, because I have sort of an interest in just understanding the key metrics and helping those get out also
Right.
to the public a little bit
Exactly.
in some way. But sorry, it derailed.
Okay.
So water quality update before we move, there are a couple things. One is, I would hope that the confidence report is going to be successful in the sampling will, and we keep talking about promotion. I'm going to call it promotion publicity. I know that's not the correct term. Communications.
Communication.
But these are two important topics that, if they're favorable, we definitely should be providing some community conversations, promotion pieces, because we have had challenges about our drinking water. The part two that I want to mention that Mike can give.
Yeah,
Okay.
favorable
not
or
favorable.
unfavorable.
Right. Well, that I left that neutral because
Whatever they are, we
Whatever
need
they
to
are.
get the information out.
right. The second though, and Mike could probably share this information. We still have never really done an education piece or a celebration like World Water Week or something like that. But Mike, as part of the main group, has a
He's the
day
president.
without water.
Main group.
Day
Main
without
water
water,
utilities.
which is in October.
Main Water Utility Association.
And I'd like us to start now to plan to do something. I'm not sure I'll be around because of the date. But Mike, would you just tell him, because it's October, so we can't wait till September to decide. There you go, Mike.
So within Maine Water Utilities Association, there's several subcommittees. There's a board of directors, technology committee, there's a public awareness committee. One of the things that they do is they do organize different functions throughout the year, bring awareness to water and what's going on around the state. I think Mary brought it up, it was about a year ago, you had seen about, we had brought some coasters down to Gritty's and supplied them, and
Yep.
you said this was awesome, you know, and then I learned you were the president, great job, and I thought, well, I really have nothing to do with it, but, you know, that's the
I
public
gave you
awareness
credit.
committee. Yeah, you gave me credit, and I felt bad, but again, they do events like that throughout the year, and Tiz had mentioned something close to that, so after the meeting last month, I had forwarded it to her, and that's why she's.
And I'd really like us to do something, because what I had sent to him, which comes up every year, and we've had this concern, is there's a drinking water contest, taste of drinking water. They're going to have to tell you the rest of that. But we've never entered. I understand from what I've been told that I can recall, they're typically small water districts, small utility. So, and not necessarily for us. But I'd like us to take this idea and move it forward so we could do something in October, since we've done nothing else as a public entity kind of thing.
They are planning to go to all of the breweries around the state and promote the idea that without water, you can't have beer. They want to bring that to like a trivia night. And I know one of the ladies who is on the public awareness committee works for the Portland Water District, and I believe she lives somewhere in Lewiston, Auburn. And she was the one last year who brought that to Gritty's. And I know this year they're planning to go to Side by Each and Gritty's in Baxter.
Right.
So they are getting it
And
around
it
this
isn't just beer. Beer is, this was a great marketing tool, but a day without water, think of your house. If you closed your tap off for a day, one day.
Or a date without beer.
Or a day without beer. There's a good reason to drink Irish whiskey. But anyway, Mike, I think it's
All right.
great, and I'd like us as a group to put on our agenda to move forward and plan some kind of public activity in that venue.
All right, with that, let's go back to the election of officers.
Results are in.
Did Funkin' Wagnalls have their voting results?
Yes. President Mary Sylvester, 5-2 vote. Treasurer Dan, 7-0. Super Mike Broadman. Susan Hagerson, 7-0. Audit HRH, 7-0. And clerk Tanya Dunn, 7-0.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Fisher, maybe you would not be crying.
Would you like to move to this seat, or
Oh, no.
are you fine where you are?
I am fine where I am.
Okay,
Are you handing me the so-called
hey,
gavel?
you're in. Tag, you're in.
Next
Project update.
Yeah,
I
before
think we
we
should. I personally want to thank Casey for
I do
doing
too.
what he's done.
Yeah.
I don't really know him too well, but he's been nothing but helpful since I started. It's only been a month, but I just want to thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the tours and all
I'm
of
not
that.
I'm not going anywhere. We're
Yeah,
gonna-
but I,
No,
knowing
Chris-
what the kind of extra time is involved,
Yeah.
I want to show my
Yeah, me
appreciation.
too.
to it, you know. Anybody who steps up deserves it. Round of applause.
Yeah, with the turnover in treasurer, I'm no longer going to be part of the compensation committee, so whether that's the new treasurer or someone else, the meeting is tomorrow, but I'm finished with that work because I only accepted it as part of my fiduciary responsibilities as a treasurer.
Thank you
Well,
for
we'll
serving
think
that
about that.
too. We really appreciate it.
Well, moving right along then, we have project update.
Alright, if you wanna each take one of these and pass them around. A couple things here I'd like to get, votes on. So one project, well, this isn't really a project, this is just something we budget every year. We work with the city of Lewiston, both their water division and their public works, Auburn Public Works, and then us, the water and sewer district here in Auburn. We put out a joint paving bid every year. And we basically use the quantities of holes that we dug throughout the winter collectively to get a base price number to then judge the bids for the rest of the season. So again, the one that you see of the paving bid, I've circled the TW paving. Even though if you run the numbers, LP Poirier and Sons was actually the low bid. That factors in the Type C paving, which actually we didn't have a quantity in. We're not going to be doing any of that. That's where you would grind an inch and a half off and then resurface. We don't do that. And also the city of Lewiston and Auburn Public Works found fault with his abilities to do that aspect of the job. So that kind of makes that part of the bid null and void. And everybody's recommendation was to go with TW for the trench restoration, and I am in favor of that as well. Again, they're the same price as Poirier, and I think they're a little bit more capable, and they're right here in Auburn, and I think they could serve us very well. So I would like your support to award our portion of the paving bid to TW.
So
Can I
entertain
make
a motion.
a motion for TW paving?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Do these project updates typically require an approval by vote, or do we?
Only for
Are they
procuring
infused?
items.
This is a purchase award, award for an annual contract.
So it's a good question. Normally it's an update, but they can't, part of this update includes a business action.
Yeah, within that sometimes we have to approve things to purchase.
Especially where it's a contract.
Any other discussion or questions? Move the question, all in favor? Any opposed? Discussion?
Particularly appreciate being an Auburn business.
So that's good, thank you. The next one, Poland Road. I think I had brought this to your attention the last couple of meetings. Parts of Poland Road we would actually like to pipe burst. We have $700,000 set aside to replace the 7,000 feet of water main on Poland Road, which if you run the numbers on that, that's about $100 a foot. We would like to do 3,000 feet. We'd like to do pipe bursting at a cost of $135,000. When you do the service, it's about $150. When you run the numbers on that, it winds up being about $50 a foot. So we can save a lot of money. It's a good chance to save $100,000 to $200,000. So it's a good opportunity. Met with our foreman. We feel that this is a good project. We've gotten a couple of different quotes. There really aren't a lot of people who do this in New England. It's really down to Ted Berry. They have the equipment. St. Laurent has to rent the equipment. They don't have it, and their price wound up being higher because of that. But we would like to award that contract to Ted Berry to partner with us, and we're going to sub that work out to them as part of the project.
With the additional savings that will come through, can we do more pipe?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
That'll
we'll
stay in our
spend
capital fund, and we'll get some more.
Can we do it
main
for the
stuff.
coming year, knowing?
We're going to try. Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
I move
Just, entertain the motion.
I move that we award Ted Berry.
I can second that.
Any discussion? As a point of perhaps helpfulness to Jason, could you just give him a little bit of information about
Pipe bursting.
what
So,
pipe bursting is? It doesn't sound constructive.
so this is a cast iron water main. That's what is out on Poland Road. This right here.
Notice the flow.
This is 4-inch. The pipe that's out there is 8-inch. So what they're actually going to do is they're going to excavate a pit, and they're going to lower a hydraulic unit into the pit. they're gonna pay stainless steel rod down the water main. They're gonna go 1,000 feet. We're gonna excavate another pit, and we're gonna expose that rod that they then just push through the water main. They're gonna hook onto a piece of 8-inch HDPE and a cutting die, and they're gonna pull that back through
It's like
the main.
you pull a funnel through it.
So you're pulling the new
Right,
8-inch pipe through the old 8-inch pipe, and that die cuts, breaks, and presses it away as that new pipe's pulled through. So they're going to be able to do this, and they're going to do it in 2 weeks. For us to do 3,000 feet and dig it, and then you have to reap the big savings is on the paving. We don't have to, the excavation costs.
So in an area where you don't have any services and houses along the way, you can do a big distance very quickly without having to worry about all the pipes that connect to your main.
I probably should have had this.
Did you show us the video, or did I find the video,
We'll
or
go
did I?
on our website.
Yeah, it's really
So
cool.
Oh, that's
if you look here, there's Hotel Road, here's Poland Road. This first stretch from Hotel over to Royal, there is only like 3 services. So there's a connection to Goldthwaite, and there's 640. There's 3 services. So that means we're going to be able to pull all that new pipe, and then we're going to have to do 3 little holes, reconnect, and reconnect. So again, you're not trenching and excavating 6 foot wide, 3,000 feet. That's where you save your money. But everything in blue is what we're bursting. Everything in red is we're going to dig and replace.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. And the only other, just to tack on one more newbie question, when we approve these types of sort of financial bids that have to be voted on by us and approved, are they excluded from our minutes? Or did I miss them, or are they intentional so that it's not public knowledge right off the bat, or until we make the? Because I don't know anything about it. Any downside to either of these, other than what you're telling me right on the spot, and I'm again a newbie question, so maybe everybody knows
Are you
these.
asking about the bids?
In general,
themselves?
This
yes.
is a public process.
No, the bids are not put in the minutes.
The big numbers.
The big numbers aren't, but
The
this
meetings are
document
public.
is. Right, but this document will go in the minutes, because this is supplemental materials at the table.
But if somebody called Mike and said, I want to see the 2 bids,
We give them,
so you give it to them.
sunshine laws require us
Right.
to show
We
public.
would don't give anybody anything if they ask for.
Yeah, more for my information. Just I don't know if there's any downside to one or the others. Like the value is quite a bit less. Yeah, that sounds good. They're an Auburn company, great. But do we
Do we
have
have
any other?
experience working with Ted Bear?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You just wouldn't want to read the bids and try to analyze them to begin with.
very good history with Ted Berry. They're very good, very cost effective, and they're very, very good.
But you should stop apologizing for your newbie questions, because first of all,
Keep
one,
asking.
we all did them. I behaved just like you. I did, and yeah, absolutely true. And it's helpful. It's like people say, why do we spend so much time in our check registers? Because the check registers generate questions about our business that unless we saw something, Green Turtle is a place, not a restaurant. So I would encourage you to continue to ask, because it's beneficial to all of us.
Exactly.
You'll learn it all.
And sunshine laws apply to bids.
Everything takes time.
So is that all voted on?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Call for the question, all in favor?
So outside of that, we are starting work on Poland Road, and we are starting work on 5th Street. We're up on 5th Street, doing some digging today and getting ready. Longchamps is going to be replacing the water main up there. We do have to get temporaries and make sure we can get the main shut down good for them to work on. So works in progress as we speak. So.
And just to be related to the projects, we've had this goal of, and this is for everybody's sake, but I want to make sure Jason's totally, we made a commitment that with our last rate increase, that we would replace 1.5 miles of pipe per year. And we did so last year and then some. How are we on track for that this year too?
Well, right now, between the 2 projects, it's over 1.5 miles. So if we have additional funds and we can do more work, we should.
That's great.
We also gave more work, more money, nearly 90,000, right? From the TM. I saw you nicely identified the excess money, so we actually budgeted more. this crew has to tell us when they can't do any more though, because if we.
Yeah, we don't have to spend it.
We do have to spend it.
We've got a
They
lot
do.
on our plate. We've got a lot on our plate this year with Poland Road,
Yeah.
Fifth Street. We've got a bunch of sewer projects as well. You know, I definitely we're on track to get the mile and a half.
And when we think going forward about some of our strategic priorities, at an earlier meeting before Jason came on board, Sid provided us with a chart that at our current rate of 1.5 miles of pipe replacement per year, it will take us 47 years to replace what we need to replace. If we could get up to 2 miles a year, that cuts it to
33 years or something.
33 years. That's still a long time. But if we were still at 1 mile a year, it was 60 years. So all of this is about strategic priorities for infrastructure.
And that was just our oldest cast iron pipe.
And
Right,
that's just
right.
stuff that looks like
It wasn't-
that doesn't have
That wasn't
water.
even the good stuff.
Right.
That
So-
was currently good.
So as we think about our future priorities, I think it's always good just to keep in mind, we've got water coming out of the lake that is of a certain quality and needs to be maintained, that it has to flow through pipes that are working, it has to get treated, it has to flow through pipes, they have to get replaced, there are breaks, and we have to maintain hydrants. I mean, it's a really essential core business. So we set that as a stage for the topic of trustee strategic planning, which I think is a really crucial one. Sid, you've taken kind of a step forward in bringing a person's name to us to look at. Do you want to discuss
I've got that,
what
that's
you
one
know
of the,
about him?
sure, that's one of the next agenda items, but,
I'm moving that forward.
Were we done with project
We had
update?
well, there's just a few things I wanna go over under,
Right.
under
Oh, I'm
projects.
sorry.
What?
I'm a newbie too.
Go ahead, or, I don't know.
Well, no, I thought the next item was to talk about the Elm permit
I guess.
and project updates.
Well, yeah, there's a few things here. I've got I've got a copy of the Gull report in here. It is an annual report that USDA puts out on gull management on Lake Auburn. If you go to one of the last, kind of the Reader's Digest version of this, the last page of that has highlighted 2018 results. The bottom line is the program has been very effective this year. There have been fewer gulls than in any previous year.
Last few years have been way down.
You know, that might beg the question, well, there's less gulls, can you do less? And my answer to that is no. It proves to me that this program is effective. If you read this report in detail, you'll see in here that not only do they monitor the lake, they also do a cursory review of how many gulls are in the area. There are a lot more gulls in the area. Places like Shaver Pond, unfortunately, and in parking lots where people are feeding them, other water bodies around the area, but they don't seem to be coming to Lake Auburn as much as they used to. To me, that's directly attributable to this management program that we have.
So what is the AWD cost to the gull management again?
About 170,000.
Just us?
No, it's about half that.
Right, combined.
So it's 80 to 90.
So like 90 grand to scare 1,300 birds away in 2018.
520. Is that the right?
It's a monthly.
Yeah, no,
That's the 19
yeah,
budget.
that
That's a
actually
total.
that was what it was last year.
The total harassed was 1,300
Yeah.
birds this year. Before that was 1988. You know, 14 it was 1,400. It spiked in 16. I mean, then you look at the months. It really takes effect August, September, October, November, 4 months, and they're out there 8 months.
That's what I read in there. Right? So,
Why can't we just hit the 4 months where they get the 1,300 birds for half the cost? That's just what I want to throw out there. I mean, I agree. Let's not can the program, but why can't we be a little bit more cost effective in cost per bird? I mean, this is crazy. The first few years, 13,000 birds, 12,000. I think the birds are learning.
Yeah, they are.
Well, they're going to other places. They're not learning because apparently they do learn well, and they know that they're going to get shot at. For us, we're not killing them, sadly, in my opinion. But they're going other places. places, so we're
What-
just not measuring Taylor Ponds.
One thing I can do, and I know one thing that's helped in the past, is to get Ben in and talk about the report of the program. And I know every time he comes in, he can certainly go to those points a lot
Yeah.
better than I could, just trying to decipher from the report. Would the trustees like to see another report from Ben? He could come in next
Presentation,
month.
I would, and I'd like it to be at a public time in a public place, so the public can hear this, because it's a very important aspect of our lake quality and what these various bodies are doing to secure quality drinking water. The public doesn't know about this, they don't understand the costs, they don't understand the results.
So are you thinking about library maybe at a different day, different time,
Yeah.
like in the
Library or city hall,
different, yeah,
recorded at city hall, you can record in all the rooms, but
public announcements all over to get
yeah,
to let
promotion
people
piece,
know.
this is I think this is a great program. I would love to look at the numbers that Dan's talking about, bringing them down. I've been convinced over time that it's not something that can just go away, although you and I both know we talk about the money every year. And so if we're going to bring them, rather than waste the resource on just the 7 of us, at a minimum, do it with the Watershed Protection Commission, but why not open it to the public? It's an opportunity.
I mean, it'd be just as easy too, just to scale back a little bit and see what kind of data we get next year.
Well, again, so we're talking about two different things. One is informing the public and why is this important to start with? And the second is, are we being most efficient with our funding? Should we be looking at this? And we've not really had a strong conversation about that because the 2 points get mixed.
Well, first, can you ask him that question, and then sort of a
So
separate,
we asked
Yeah, I
Ben
think they're
that
two
question.
I think
It's
that
a
we
scaled
should
back
pursue
program.
them.
We could try for just one
just to see
year
what his
to
answer.
see what the
We've
data is.
asked in the past.
Every year.
And they minimize, they change what they do to minimize how much time they have to spend in order to be effective.
Well,
But-
I
and then-
his question is something else.
And then this contract is negotiated between the USDA and the city of Lewiston, and we are just the other half of that.
So let me ask Ben, would
What's
you
the
like to
USDA?
ask the person, have Ben come here directly so you could ask him that question?
No, I've been
In
to
the
the
setting.
water district meetings where he's presented. I'm just
Yeah.
looking at the data.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
It doesn't-
you can read the first page, and to me, I don't want to say rhetoric, but it's the same information every year.
Well,
But
actually,
what
that's what I think.
speaks clear is the data, and the data is saying $170,000 divided by 1311.
Well, you can't just say it's $1 per gallon. It's the
No.
effectiveness of the
Otherwise, you
program.
can just take out all the birds and get a much better rate per bird.
The population's down. The months that they're seeing him is down.
I would
Can't we
like to
talk
ask
about
you
that?
I'm looking at the opposite way. If there was 0 gulls on that lake, I'd say this is the best program in
Prove
the
me
world.
wrong a year from now. Prove the
Well,
trustees wrong.
prove me wrong, and our water quality goes down.
Would it, no, okay, so let's go back. We have this conversation.
If we start getting bacteria hits in that lake,
They're there every day. If
I'm
they were
gonna
there
have
every
to answer
other
the
day and
fact
we
that
saw
we-
more bird counts, then they would just
So-
increase their patrol.
So I'm a big believer and hope our whole board is in informed decision making. And I respect the idea that there could be an experimental approach to this, but I think our responsibility is to water quality, which has already had some problems. So I think we have to, I think as a first step, we should bring Ben in for a chance to answer these questions so that we can make responsible decisions as a board. And that can't be, that's how I think that, I mean,
And his
responsible
questions can be
and
asked.
I think you should ask Ben all these questions, and if we make it a public meeting for the community also, that's fine, but I think there needs to be a work session with the board, so that we can be as confrontational as you'd like to be in a board setting. So, and it could be, have a community meeting where he informs the community too at some point, but I think we should be able to have a kind of sleeves up conversation with him. Jason?
just as a starting point, can't we just agree on a bullet list of few questions and just send it in an email and just start there?
Sure.
And then with the intent that we're we probably wanna do this anyway, cause I'd be interested, but
Yeah,
can we just start, cause that sounds like a real answerable question.
so as a way, because our superintendent is the point of communication to the person in the program, let's everybody who has questions that you want Sid to ask.
Within reason, because it's not a, like you said, it's not a roll up your sleeves,
Right.
session.
But, I mean,
But his question is something, because even for people who've just gone through, Dan made a comment that I had on my front page, and I know the answer to my question. What's the difference from this report to last year's? Because 90% of it is the same. Now, the summary description, executive summary, to me should be promoted, publicized, and could be an article on our work. But I'm like Dan, the numbers have gone down. If our problem that Sid pointed out is because they've moved from the lake and we're feeding them up at Burger King, because I see that every day, we need an education component to get people to stop feeding the gulls. But lastly, from a research standpoint that concerned me, and this is not my forte, but I pay attention to it because of something I wrote, the most recent, with the exception of the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation and tracking gulls, the most current data is 2010. That's almost nine years ago. If this record is being updated and current, we should have more current research. So there's my question.
So we need to keep track of every question you just asked.
Right.
Do you remember them?
I can, yep,
So would you please
I can-
email them to
yep.
Casey, to Sid?
yep.
Dan, would you please email your questions to Sid? Jason, you can, every single one of us, if you have questions, please email them to Sid. And you can send them to the group too. And Sid will be our person to ask Ben.
Yes.
And I think we should also schedule a visit from Ben at a future meeting. So that we
We'd be more
can
than happy to come.
pose every question, push the pencil, ask for justification.
We give them a list of questions and
Yeah.
ask them to come in.
Yeah.
I think that
And
is
just explain,
a good
you know,
solution.
one-on-one, we've got a video camera that
Right.
people can see it, you know, it's not,
Right.
it's not taken from City Hall chambers, but it's,
Well, I'm not giving up on that one. I'm good.
Well,
But they're separate but equal.
But I think this is a real
Yeah.
working meeting with a person
Do they, I'm sorry, do they charge for that type of stuff?
To come?
Silly question.
When
Do
you
they
come
come, like, do they, for a presentation, do
well,
they,
he gets paid for working, you get hourly,
does it cost us?
yes,
Yeah,
you know, cause it's part of the,
it's part of the contract. Yeah,
It's part of the contract. It's not an additional fee, which
Oh, I
is
see.
what I think
He
you
would
were.
come and answer our questions as part of his contract
Sure.
with us.
that's part of his job.
And I think, and I think that we need that. I'd like to think about the public presentation
We can
later,
Right.
after we have had our informed process for our decision.
and he can explain how he keeps the cost down of the program by doing less of this and less of that, and devoting his attention to where it's most effective, and he's most able to explain that.
And out of the box thinking and questions to him are welcome, because if there isn't an answer, that is something for us to also understand. So this is a good time, and Sid can give him those questions, and at the time that would work for him and one of our upcoming questions, so meetings, let's do it.
And our reports from prior years should be on our website so that you can compare year to year.
And it is a point to ask him about the 2010, Tiz asked some additional good questions, you know, what's just the latest, and
Well, this is easiest, is we all send our things because we all have different areas.
I just wanted to understand one last thing. It sounded like initially there were two separate. One was asked, send him a bunch of questions and hope to get it just by email to get some answers,
he
basic
should come.
answers, and then it morphed to send him the questions that he'll come and answer.
right.
Are we
so,
sending questions,
I'll
some basic
send them
questions?
to me and I'll forward them to Ben, and he can then incorporate that into when he comes and talks.
So it's a
Simple
good
as that.
clarification. I would like to suggest, unless there needs to be a motion about it, that he come. I think
I don't think
I
so.
don't think we need a motion, but.
we agree. A consensus on
Yeah.
that.
He does every year.
I was at a meeting where he came, and it was really helpful to, some of it involves some science that's worth listening to, and email is maybe not the easiest way, but the question of cost per bird was on our mind last time we came, and it's a good question.
The other thing is, and again, not for public, but the other half of this bill is paid by
Those two
Lewiston, I would encourage us to invite them, do the same thing, plan the same thing, a joint meeting, it helps develop our relationships, they're paying half the bill, might save Ben a second session.
Did you ask Kevin if he?
I can ask if they'd have.
So now
it.
Lewiston is
Is the other
Kevin and Dale, right? Is it the equivalent of this board?
Yes.
No.
No?
Okay, so
Well, Kevin is my equivalent. They're set up different because they're a department of the city. They're administered by the city council.
yeah, but
Opposed to board of
the
trustees.
day-to-day operations, the city council just approves stuff, right? It's like they
Well,
don't,
the equivalent of their trustees is our trustees is their city council.
Yeah, they don't dig in quite.
and they have monthly operations meetings. The city council and Dale and
No.
Kevin.
No.
I don't believe it.
Not specifically.
So the
with
invitation would be to everyone, but we could
that. Well,
expect
I
at
could
least
ask
Dale.
Kevin who he thinks must be appropriate.
Yeah.
Would want to hear this.
Because you think they would wonder too,
They don't.
But they,
But
But
they-
to them, the water fights the battle with public works, so why would you pay attention to water if you've got
but they're the
bigger
ones,
battles?
that Kevin and Dale are the ones who negotiate the contract with the USDA. So they've got direct contact with them every year, at least.
Well, they have a different structure. And
I can find out if
talk
they
to
have
Kevin
interest. Yeah.
and tell him that we have trustees who have a lot of questions that
And
we
they're
want to
welcome.
ask, and these are what they are. Might as well send them to Kevin as well, and that Ben's going to come, and that he's welcome, and anyone he thinks should be part of it.
And this will be a meeting separate and apart from a monthly water district trustee meeting. I see a lot of time here, and I think we need a separate meeting, because especially if they got Lewis coming over too, it's gonna be way too long to do all this. It's already after 5:30, and we still got stuff to do.
Okay,
And
all right,
I'd like to see a separate meeting, separate from the
excellent.
monthly meeting.
Sounds like a good proposal. Does that, do others agree with a separate meeting? And
Would you still say that if Lewiston didn't care to send anybody?
Well,
Yes.
the point is still there. That you
Yes,
have time to have
it's still, I see
Still have
this
time.
is,
He's doing a.
I don't wanna be here till 6:30,
because
just
he
because
has
we're
been
having an
here.
additional person.
I just know in the past that he has been here as part of the trustee
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
You're all here. You've got the date. You've got the time. I
So,
want to set a separate meeting.
let's
just for
try
that.
to do
I don't know if you'll get full
almost
attendance.
like a city council workshop. Let's do a city council meeting with let's do a separate meeting, if others would agree. Is there anyone who disagrees with the idea of a separate meeting? So that we don't end up having to bring sleeping bags to our meetings. Okay. What else do you want to report? And so special meeting in May or June?
I'm gone the month of May completely.
So June. So sometime
And to
in
give lead time, because we've got to get our questions in, give Ben the time to
So-
answer it, reach out to
If you can,
Lewiston.
yeah,
Right.
June or July.
Yes.
Okay,
I have just one question relative to the report before we move on.
please.
On the page, the last page, middle of the page, this is kind of quick answer, additional benefits, beaver, under beaver,
Right.
manage the beaver population.
Right.
Can you tell me in 50 words or less what they did?
They've relocated them. We do have beavers that are all over the place, and they cause problems. They were on the point around the next point around from where the pumping station is.
Church Road.
Yeah.
They removed a couple, 2, 3 over there. They get into the culvert over off Lakeshore Drive. They dam that up. Raised water levels causes erosion, causes phosphorus. It's all that stuff.
That's good. They removed them of something hopefully far, far away. Thank you.
Far away.
All right. Egg zone, you have egg zone things to discuss. Apparently, you have a document
Don't we
here.
go to trustee?
Trustees, strategic
Oh,
planning.
X zone is later.
That's old
I have
business.
down
Church-
the
church-
Here's
Alan
my
treatment.
agenda. Now we have strategic planning.
Alan
I
treatment.
got owl treatment on mine.
How about
I
Alan
have-
treatment? Yes, thank you. I'll get this organized.
Yeah, just a few more things. Alum treatment, just to update you on that. We did finally submit and for the permit from the DEP. That official date was April. I don't have my notes. April 12th, I guess it was.
Yeah, April 12th.
So there's a 30-day public comment period, which we're currently under now. So we do anticipate having that permit in hand a month from April 12th. We did get approval for the bond by the city City Council, at the last meeting they had a few weeks ago there. We are still awaiting the results of our SRF bond in terms of getting principal forgiveness for that bond. We did submit the paperwork for that. We're not gonna hear back from that until the federal budget passes, right, Tanya? You talked to the person there at that SRF and
And how much might that be?
well,
percentage-wise?
it could be anything from 0 to full forgiveness.
Okay.
We really don't know yet, but everything is submitted, so they will be under review. Hope for the best on that one.
One question that I wanted to bring up, said about the Auburn City Council vote, and I'd like this read into the minutes, that there was 2 amendments to the resolve allowing for the bond, because the City Council has to approve all bonding, even though we don't actually bond the money. But the 2 amendments to the resolve were brought up and passed. One of them was that we understand that the 50-50 split was going on with this deal, but we also understood that that's not typical for maintenance supplies for the water treatment. And that an agreement had already been made, so therefore they were approving the 50-50. But there was quite a lot of discussion about that, what the split should be. So that was the first group. The second part of the resolve is a whereas the City Council understands that there will be an ongoing discussion and work towards a more favorable funding formula based on usage. So I can get the exact wording. It's in the minutes of the
So
last
you
City
can
Council
get it from
meeting,
City Council.
but that's basically what it was. So
Yeah.
the City Council approved that with those 2 amendments that were fully
Right.
supported by Council.
And to get, that's a very important addition, and you can get that, kind of from the city.
It
Make
should
sure
be in
you
the
get it.
minutes of the last meeting, the exact wording, but basically those are the 2.
Well, I'll assume that the city clerk will be sending something to us regarding what was approved.
Yes, you should have, and I'm not surprised, it hasn't happened.
I haven't seen it yet.
I emailed her what the exact amendments were, word for word, and she was supposed to add it to the resolve itself. And
So
then
between
republish the
City and
result.
Tanya, you'll make sure that our minutes should reflect the exact wording of the city's approval.
So that, I mean, that's not binding on us here, but it is that the City Council understands that they approved it with the idea that there was going to be some progress in those 2 areas.
And by our action today, we've already said we're going to do that, because we're going to start by looking at the interlocal
Correct.
agreement. Yeah,
So as long as we're doing that, then we're
Yeah.
following the
And you'll
guidelines of the
look at it.
result.
Yeah.
The problem
we
could come
took
up
that
if there's
action.
another question,
We mentioned it, but that hasn't.
We've discussed it. We're
Oh,
beginning
I
the
thought
process
we
of
did.
studying.
I don't think we had a formal vote in that.
That's an example if we get confused, because that's when we didn't take a formal vote, but she got consensus at the table versus raising our hand and doing it.
So we're in new
I'm
business.
happy with it. Oh, before we leave Alan, one more thing. You notice it said pending comments from the public. Since we don't know what the public's saying, is there any action we as trustees or Lake Auburn Watershed Protection Commissioners should do, such as, do we send something that said we support this plan and it's been well thought out? Do we do nothing? Remember, this is a state action that will be based on public input from others than the 7 or 8 people here at the table.
Right,
This
it's
is state action.
the application, we have a copy of it here for public comment. There's the application at the state. Normally, any public comment would, well, it's been published, so any public comment would go to the state. They can
Right.
review the document.
My question is, do I as
Proactively
A7,
solicit-
one of 7, write a note to the public utilities or wherever it goes and said, I am in support of the alum treatment on Lake Auburn in order to ensure quality drinking water for our community. Thank you very much.
Does it need additional input?
Because
from
we
the
don't know what the rest are saying. That's my concern.
I suppose there's no harm in doing that. I'm not sure that it's necessary,
Okay.
to be honest, but
If it's not needed, we'll create one.
I have a question. At your city council presentation, you mentioned something that surprised me in saying that we would do the alum treatment this summer if it turns out to be needed.
I regret saying that. It's needed.
It just, I was like, whoa.
To be blunt and honest, it's needed.
I missed
Um,
what you
I mean, if there was, I'm on tape again here, but we need to do that alum treatment. That is the most proactive thing to do to assure water quality.
All right, I was confused and surprised, so I wanted to be clear about that. Now, I want to get back to the question about the process of study around the agreements in 50-50 versus some other allocation. If there needs to be, I mean, it's in the notes, we're going to pay attention to this. Step one is that we're going to look at some sample interlocal project agreements. Do you need a vote to make sure this doesn't get lost?
No, I don't think so, it's actually. But we need to know what exists that shows what.
That's a
supposed
study
to be,
process
what currently exists.
That we are going to, so you had said, right, sometimes we get lost on what needs a vote. We're not gonna get lost on this project of looking at these agreements and understanding the split question. And the step one in the process is to look at what the agreements currently say. Step two will be to understand how to move forward with the question.
So she said she asked to email all of them
Yes.
to us.
Yes.
Is that, are you sure that's practical? That's all.
It's
was my
all of those
question.
related to the, only to the, to the interlocal agreement that relates to expenses. It's not, so if he has 50, then maybe you were at 50 interlocal agreements. We only need to look at this first step was to look at interlocal agreements related to the expenditures for the lake. Anything related to the lake, whether it's UV, distribution or whatever.
Anything
That
relates
it's
to
only
all
there.
costs. I mean,
Right, all costs, but just to the lake. We've
Right.
got interlocal agreements with the Watershed Protection Commission, I gathered with the city of Lewiston. We should look at those at a later, not lose them, but that's what I understood our first
So,
step.
let me just ask a clarifying
Is that
question
what you did?
around scope of how many we would get. If I get 50 of those, I won't know where to start.
You won't get this.
I should only be one
You should
or
get
two.
two or three.
Just what I needed to hear. Okay.
There's a couple of, there's some basic agreements,
Some basic agreements,
and
that's
they'll have
all I
some
need.
they'll have some language in them,
So we're not inundated
and let's look at
with
them and
Okay.
And I
start
think
with something
the
manageable.
reason we're asking for that level of detail is we're trying to figure out as a board if there's some way to categorize and maybe make a statement overall to say this is how we've treated it traditionally. Let's make a formal policy or statement. This is the way we're going to treat
Exactly.
this moving forward,
Exactly.
and make that publicly aware so that they're.
Well,
Or if we need to
If-
negotiate, then we gotta figure out
you got an
how to
interlocal agreement, do you need to try to change that?
Right.
Or reinterpret it, whatever comes along.
And what's the next step there? Who has to meet, what do we have to do to possibly
Excellent.
change an agreement?
And the supplemental to that, in case we go from the all or none, is that in our bylaws, because this question raises how we conduct our business.
It'll be
So
part
those
of
are the
the
two.
study process, is what needs to get them embedded into our policy and practice. Okay, so we've gotten through Alum, we're going to do it, we've gotten through water quality. We're gonna move to strategic planning, but, a question that I have about process, I appreciate that you have already reached out to someone.
I guess you want me to start with what I've done with this? I one thing since I've been here, and I don't know if it's happened for a decade or even more, but I know that quite often boards of this type have their own formal sessions where they talk about a number of different things, you know, obligations, responsibilities, rights, how to function, how they interact with each other, and then moving into, and I know there's been a request about, you know, developing a more strategic plan for how we do things. Over the years, I've been involved with Maine Water, just like Mike has, and we've seen a number of different types of trustee presentations. And this person, Bill O'Brien, is someone that I've seen quite a bit operating under that forum. We actually had him here last year doing some team building for the district here, all every year we do a team building session, and he was the one that came and did it for us last year. I had a conversation with him, and he sent me a proposal which you've got in your packets, where he is making a proposal to. I particularly like the format he is proposing to do. He's developed a questionnaire that he would like to send out to everyone, asking about what you think the district's strengths and weaknesses are. I shouldn't say weaknesses, opportunities for improvement and development.
The skill, strength, weakness, the SO, whatever.
SWOT.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that it's
listed here.
exact. No, it's not exactly in that format, but it's it doesn't get into an incredible amount of detail. But over the conversation I had on the phone, that's the format that he's used in the past that's been most effective. He'll send out questionnaires where it'll really encourage you to put down some of your thoughts as to what you think's going good, where you think we need to move, and he'll compile that data and then custom make a facilitated session, maybe one, maybe two, not sure yet, where he'd come in and just share his thoughts with the board and just get some, hopefully get us headed in the right path into the future. I brought this up, as you know, we have two boards. We have sewer board as well. I brought this up to them last night. They thought it was a good idea. They'd like to see it developed a little bit more, maybe even talk to some other consultants who do the same thing as well to get some alternate things to look at. But they were encouraged by it. One thing I mentioned to Bill O'Brien as well, and as you folks know, the water and sewer boards are very, very different, and there's been some conflicts between the two boards. Let's just face fact, it's been out there. So maybe some of this, if they go through a similar evaluation, maybe he can identify some of the overlapping things between the boards and try to help in that regard as well. So I don't know if anyone. I think this would be a very worthwhile process. It's something we haven't done. I think it would help us all. It would help me, and I think it would help everyone here as well to go through this type of a process. This doesn't have any dollar figure attached to it, but I could have him further develop that if people want a little more detail. I'm not looking for a full endorsement tonight. Let's go with him, but I just wanted to start with this and see what people thought of this process.
And the funding for him or another person would come out of one account.
Well, it would probably come under our admin. We have money in the budget for training. This would fall in line with that.
I just had one point I want to make. I have to leave
Yep.
at 6. So I got another obligation. But my point last night, I think it's a good idea, but like any study or any consultant you bring in, if we don't have a clear idea of ideas, objectives, and goals, then we're going to be following his lead and not ours. So I think it's very important that we know what we want to accomplish. Strategic plan scares the hell out of me normally when municipalities, because it usually means the big dollar signs next to the result. We're going to see that pretty soon with our own strategic plan that's been worked on for the last 4 months. It's a huge dollar amount attached to accomplishing anything on that list. I'm not saying that will be here because we are kind of a little bit different. We can't just raise the rates every year. We have to wait and go through quite a process. But I just would like to have us have goals and objectives of what we want to accomplish before any gentleman or any company comes in, so we at least know what we're doing and not just following somebody else's lead.
I totally agree with what Andy said, and what I was also going to say. Do you have more to say?
No, that's really all. My biggest concern is the money that's going to be involved, because it's easy to throw money at anything. So a strategic plan sometimes is fix this, and this, and here's the price tag. You don't want to do it, okay? We don't. I don't want that kind of thing.
I don't think his goal was to sit down with us for weeks and weeks and develop a strategic.
No, I'm sure you're right.
I think he's going to set us up so that we can.
We need to know what we want to accomplish first before what do we want to accomplish? Better organization. Do we want to accomplish better collaboration with the sewer district? Do we want to? If those things are what we want to do, then we meet with him before they come in. This is what we like to accomplish, along with the questionnaire questions, and make sure that we're accomplishing those
Jason,
things.
what did you want?
Probably what Mary was going to say about process, but in the specific open session, one of the things that I was going to mention was sort of that type of board planning and priorities that we all have. Of course, I'm a new member, but everybody has their own sort of slant or top 3, top 5 issues that they might want to focus on. And we obviously have the day-to-day type of stuff. Every meeting, I think, to be effective, should have some component of board planning or board sort of project time, project work, and whether it's separate in a separate meeting or, and so my first question was going to be, what's the cost? And before we even talk about cost, we would want to determine our own priorities.
And we could be thinking about that in the next meeting.
First,
We email what we would like to accomplish with such a consultant.
I think this is way the cart before the horse. First of all, we do have the expertise at the table that we should at least start with of strategic planning. My interest is very specific strategic planning for water districts, which I know the book you gave me tells me that they have a strategic planning guide for water districts that we might look at before we spend money elsewhere. Mike, working on a state level, probably has the information too.
Right.
So before we're there, I think we've got some outlines, particularly with Mary's area of expertise in this. I love Jason's idea of planning project time and planning time. I am shocked that the sewer district's even interested in this, because they have made it very clear they do not want to talk about governance issues. They do not see a need for policies and procedure. So while I'm happy to hear that, I'm shocked by it. And I know we have 2 districts, and this may be something, but I have not seen strategic planning on the sewer district's horizon. And I'm going to repeat Dan's that we are the Auburn Water District. And while we work cooperatively with the Auburn Sewer District in order to increase efficiencies and save costs, I am tired of having that be an impediment to our moving forward for what's best for the water district. So we can work collaboratively, but I think we're way off. And then if we're going to solicit, I want it to be the public solicitation process that we do, not handpicked.
So there's a book on strategic planning for water districts?
I'm guessing there is.
Well, it's probably something from AWWA that could sort of help us.
If not, a small book, a library search, or there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. When I searched for recreation, I found a book on
And
strategic planning
plans.
specifically for recreation.
I agree with the RFP process, but the goals and objectives, and then make sure whoever can fill that desk would be the one that we pick. And
Is there a strategic plan for the Lake Auburn Watershed Protection Commission?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean,
Not a formal one.
it strikes me another point of interest is the more I read our source documents, the more I think our fundamental alignment needs to be with the Watershed Protection Commission more than sewers.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
we have,
one of the obvious issues is we have a joint budget on a lot of items, but there can be funding.
and we have other joint programs such as the Measuring the Lake and some other things that
Those
come
are joint
together.
because we
well,
And there's so many points of contention that can come up at any time, and everything is jointly funded. Insurance, wages.
No, they are not jointly funded. They are
Well-
funded by
Well,
individual organizations.
hold on just a sec. I think we're not ready to take action on this tonight. We clearly have, in the notes that I have, some things that we can think about regarding time for in each agenda to looking at some strategic issues. I do think there are a number of people at this table who already have some strategic thoughts about priorities that we should know about and bring into a meeting. I think we can create a process together that may indeed result in needing the consultancy of someone with experience with water districts using a process, but let's begin with an opportunity for people to bring some of their strategic questions. There's an interesting model that's evolving these days around strategic decision making, real time, and pre-planning and cognizance of what decisions need to be made when, that moves away from sort of a belabored strategic 3-year plan. It's because life circumstances, organizational business challenges are changing and moving so rapidly. So there are some ways to think about it, and I completely understand that we have to figure out how do we intersect with the Water Protection Commission, and how we also intersect with the sewer board, because there, especially in matters of HR and office administration, there is overlap in 2 directions, so we don't operate alone. And frankly, we have to interact with the city, so, and we have a lot of moving parts in this picture that we would want to get together. And I think a SWOT analysis is almost always a good place to begin.
Mary,
And we can do
I
that.
don't want to interrupt, but
Yeah.
we're closing in on 6 o'clock.
I'm wrapping this
And-
up as fast as
And
I
I
can.
just,
I want this done.
can we continue it next month, or?
We can. So this was gonna be my, can we delay this? Is that okay with everybody? And is there an important thing that needs to be brought up in a trustee open session that hasn't already been said?
I have something. I would really like to, so we get it on our schedules, is to go to a bi-monthly meeting for the Auburn Water District trustees. So instead of having 2 trustees call a special meeting according to the bylaws, first and third Wednesdays after the third Tuesday, that we meet. So we can get, hour and a half, because we start to burn out after 2 hours, like one does.
We're glazing over here. Yeah.
So,
We've got work.
so I don't know if that's a future agenda item, Mary,
Could
or
we do it as a future agenda?
so we can have a
item?
good discussion on that.
I'd like that.
So we'll have that.
You're saying meet every
Twice
2
a month.
months?
Twice a
No,
month.
Twice a month, right?
Yeah.
Twice a month you're
Yeah.
talking.
And then we
One
can
on financial and all these reports
pull
things
to a
that happen.
tighter
and then-
agenda, because
yeah,
I'm
maybe a
pretty adamant about a tighter agenda. We've covered a lot of territory tonight.
That'll give us time for the Bens to come in and anyone
Okay.
else. More
TIS is
guests.
done in May. I've got some things already on my books for May, so I know I can't be here twice a month in May, but if we can look ahead.
We
Starting
can
in
start
June.
July, and
And
August.
we're gonna have our next meeting, we're gonna discuss this.
Alright.
Old business.
No,
No,
More
he's got
discussion.
something right.
I'm sorry.
I just,
Go too fast.
I know we're at the end of this and Andy's gonna
So we
go.
need to do
I've
the-
got
Me too.
quick bullet points, and you'll hear this from me, but just to quickly go over it, tell me I'm crazy later, I'll just read through it. Generally speaking, we all agree we're a public board, we have a desire to encourage public participation. I heard before the meeting some talk about where we're meeting and the signage and stuff like that, that should be talked about. I'm not gonna ask for anything, don't even write it down, I'm just gonna go through this because it'll come up again.
You can
But,
send it to us in an email.
I will. I think after a tour that these guys took me through last week, I'm more encouraged than ever that we have a really good story to tell, but we're not really telling the people that very well. Obviously, we're having some website updates coming. Just the structure of our group and the water district alone is puzzling to the average person that you talk to. So we as a board could probably easily put our heads together over time to do a better job of telling all the stories and understanding the structure. In order to do that, we need to fully understand it. I don't have a copy of the bylaws or know where to find them. I mentioned it last week. Mary had mentioned that she had some.
This is a total packet for you.
Okay. You knew I was going to. Okay. All right. Is this
That's
what we
everything.
talked about? Okay.
That's everything.
So our
Would you send those
bylaws.
electronically to us, which was asked last week?
I guess I'd like to know who doesn't have all of our
The
bylaws.
public, I think, should be.
But I mean, no,
website.
just here.
Well, I know I
Because I
don't
keep
have our
getting asked
bylaws.
and I keep
I-
giving
right.
them out.
Right, well,
Okay.
and I won't ask because I'll go through, but you have been asked, and
All right.
if it was on the website, we could just get it.
I want to make sure every single one of all these documents is on the website as soon as possible. And at our
It
next
may
meeting,
take time, and it's understandable, but
keep going on your list.
okay.
I do have.
Sorry, Andy. I'll send it to
Sorry,
you.
no, sorry.
I just have
I
two more.
like that
Two more
blouse
quickly.
and I thought it was good.
Okay.
Water quality measures. You have a water quality update every week.
I think that.
I'd like to see or know where to get, and I mentioned it last week, I mentioned it when we met for the tour, but I think we and the public in general should have that data, should have at least what's regulatory required, if we have
On
some
the website?
filings.
Above and beyond. What
If
is
we have any kind of required filing that's public information, I think that we should have that. at least given to us, if not on the website. If it's sensitive, I can understand. We don't want to put anything in. Again, I can email this to you and we can go through piece by piece. If there's
If you could
parts
tell
that
me
questions
what it
about.
specifically you'd like to see, and I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay,
And so water quality measures, and then the last and most important thing is sort of general. We've talked about general board direction and planning. In part, we should address this in each meeting. If we all start with a SWOT analysis and each contribute something to each other,
Yeah.
and then each of us look at what we've all done, then we have something to start with.
Right.
And so structurally, Mary's going to go over the rest of it. But that was my 2 cents on those.
well, I really appreciate, I mean, a macro view of what you're saying is that there's some ways that we can interact with the public and be disclosive in other ways, and that's true.
All of mine have got covered in some other place, but I am going to
I gotta go,
recommend,
Mary, or I'll be
Yeah,
late.
we gotta wrap this up here,
Right.
guys, we're losing
Okay.
everything.
yes, to make sure that the president
I
and
do.
the treasurer
I do, but
get
I
an
don't do
Auburn Sewer Water District email.
I'll call you.
I'm
Okay.
concerned
Send me an
about
email. I'll look
exposure.
at it.
We're gonna lose all of this here. Folks, here's the thing, there's clearly people who have more things they wanna say. This is great energy. Please email all of us.
Okay.
Every single thing that is left on your list, and Jason, your list, because we're not gonna remember. And we gotta go.
Oh, no, can we let Greg go?
Greg, you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
He's having too much fun.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm gonna ask
Sorry.
in regard to the agenda is in the old business, is there something critical that you need to tell us about the ag zone study?
The only thing to do there is to give you a very, very brief update. That is something the Protection Commission, they had an executive session to review the current status of the ag zone study that's going on in the city. There's going to be a special meeting, which is going to be, I think you were all CC'd on that. It went out today. There's going to be a special meeting on Monday.
That's what's Monday.
Yeah,
the
I knew it was
22nd.
Monday, I didn't know the time.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock at AvCog. There's no action needed or no involvement needed from the Auburn Water District concerning this, but there is going to be a discussion of the ag zone. So
That's good to know.
that's just an update for you.
Conservation met and discussed it, and they will be having more. This will be the topic for the next agenda as well, and they're going to push off their public hearing, as planning board pushed off theirs for May 14th. So the public hearing on the egg zone changes are at public.
Okay, there's a lot going on here. We will meet next time in May. And Tim won't be here. Everybody who does not have a copy of the foundational documents related to the district, the Lake Auburn Watershed Protection Commission, the bylaws of this board, the bylaws for the protection of Lake Auburn, should let the superintendent's job description should let Sid know, so that everyone is operating from a solid foundation. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Is there any discussion? We are adjourned. Oh, we vote.
That was a unanimous vote, by the way.
Now, for this employee benefits committee, is there a meeting?
Where's the
Tomorrow.
bathroom?
Well, with the water cooler at the office.
You know, though I'm not on, I requested I should receive all the information.
So you're not coming tomorrow?
Yeah,
That is a,
I'm getting ready for vacation. We've got, when is the next?
Jason, how much is the alcohol allowance for this position?
BYO.
Talk about that, Baxter.
BYO.
Okay,
B.
good night, everybody.
I gotta catch Jason. He's my
I want
ride.
to catch Jason. I want to catch him. Thank you.
For my,
And congratulations, Miss Mary.
thank you.
Take your time back. Jason,
Oh, boy.
I'd like to
So this, I only have one